Hi, good evening. And today is the 9th of, the 5th of September 2021. And so every week, Zimmer and Peacock, we do a webinar just to do a little sort of roundup of the news from Zimmer and Peacock for this week. So we look back, sort of starting from the Monday, running through to today, which is the Sunday, and we just kind of go through some of the highlights that we've put out there this week. Now we do this often in a really sort of vlog on YouTube. But I just had some feedback over the weekend that said that one of our engineers was quite interested in having it in a podcast. So we did used to do it in a podcast, and I went away from it a little bit, but there has been some demand, so we'll start putting that back into a podcast. I hear that people sometimes like to sort of just listening in a little bit whilst doing, other jobs. So sure, we'll go back to the podcast as well. So thank you for joining us. Like I say, this is just meant to be a little chat at the end of the week, just to kind of sum up some news. And it's quite nice because we have quite a few regulars involving, including some people from the ZP Developer Zone. So everyone not everyone, but we have every week a webinar for people who are specifically members of the Developer Zone. And then, but also to this podcast, we also get some of our engineers and some of our distributors as well. So it's nice to have you guys along. So every Thursday at 8 a.m, almost in fact, we've never missed it. Every Thursday, 8 a.m. London time, we do a webinar specifically for our ZP Developer Zone members. And it's quite a sort of technical webinar. It's often driven by what we have a forum. So to join the ZP Developer Zone is free. You just apply. We make sure that you'll sort of you do have a genuine interest in being a member and your genuine interest in contributing. We just want to make sure that people are not there just to kind of spam and post inappropriately. But once people are members, then there's a forum, and in that forum they can list questions, and we can have questions like, I want to know about screen printed electrodes, or I want to know about pH sensors or glucose sensors, or I want to know how to make antibody sensors, i.e. immunosensors, and we just answer those kind of questions in the forum. And it's well attended, and we're really happy to do it, and it's a way of giving back to the community. I think Zimmer and Peacock's a little bit unusual in that respect, that we are a for-profit company, and when you look at companies, you can have charities, social enterprises, social businesses, and for-profit companies. And personally, my philosophy is that being purely for-profit company, those days are over. Those kind of companies are slightly dinosaur in this day and age. And I would describe Zimmer and Peacock really as a sort of social business, that we're a business with a heart. We want to help people, so we'd like to have the developer zone, and we like to support academic research. And so as part of that, every Thursday, 8 a.m, we do our webinar specifically for our ZP Developer Zone members. Now, moving on a little bit, I'll probably touch upon this subject twice. But this is the first time I'll at least touch upon it, which is we've come out with a range of sputtered gold electrodes. I'm personally quite interested in this. We obviously have a good range of screen printed gold electrodes, but there is a part of the community that would like vapor deposited gold electrodes. Now for me, whether you screen print the gold or vapor deposit the gold, there are differences. But with the Zimmer Peacock gold, I really genuinely believe our gold is actually really high quality. And now that's interesting. I'm not sure why, but Ali just let me know that you guys can't add comments tonight. So I appreciate Ali mentioning that, and I will try and make sure that doesn't happen again. So that's quite good, because Ali's online. I appreciate a few of you are online, but I hear that you can't add comments tonight, and I'm sorry for that. But he just let me know through a messaging service, so I appreciate that, Ali, which is interesting, and I will have to look into that a little bit. But thanks for the heads up, Ali. I appreciate it. So it's not amazing news, but you know we've started to make some gold electrodes by sputtering, because for some people, you know, due to their research or just due to their beliefs, that they would like to um, they'd like to have a very pure gold surface. Now we do make a very good gold electrodes through screen printing, but you know if people want it, then you know when you're in business, you sometimes obviously have to kind of well, you give people sometimes what they need. So I'm just going to put sorry if you can't comment tonight. Right, so I just typed that pretty quick. So we have started making some gold electrodes, and I know it's kind of interesting because I've always made the point that gold sputtered electrodes are more expensive from Zimmer Peak, but we've sort of discovered a way of manufacturing these actually at low cost. So in fact, we're doing them at the same cost as our normal screen printed electrodes. So normally we would sell like a pack of, let's say, 10 screen printed electrodes for €175. Here we're doing a pack of gold sputtered gold sputtered electrodes for exactly the same price. I said I'll come back to this twice this evening. So first time round, just going to say we made these gold sputtered working electrodes, and they might be quite interesting. And I also want to say that we were lucky enough to be invited this week to a workshop. So we're quite big supporters of the CDT in Glasgow. So the EPSRC, which is a big sort of academic funding body in the UK, they sponsor these CDTs, which is the Centres for Doctoral Training. And we were invited to go along and give a talk. So that was quite nice. I mean, it did involve going to the local airport, catching a flight, going up to Scotland, doing a drive halfway across Scotland, doing a talk, coming back. But it was definitely worth it. It was nice to meet the team there. So that was just something that we did quite quickly this week, and I just put a quick picture up on the website there. So that was just a little bit of news this week. I said I would talk about this twice this week. So I just said that we've started making gold electrodes by vapor deposition. It's probably also worth saying that we've actually got the reference electrode is still silver chloride. So that's kind of unusual that, when you see people do vapor deposited electrodes, and then normally they're all gold or they're all platinum, or maybe they're gold and platinum, but here we've actually got a bit of a combination, which is we've sputtered the gold electrode, but we've screen printed either the reference or we've screen printed the reference and counter. So I think Ali would find that quite interesting, that it's a bit of a sort of hybrid manufacturing. So there's a sputtered gold electrodes, and you can either have the reference and counter as silver chloride, but that's screen printed. And obviously the kind of mindset there is, if your signal is due to the working electrode, then you would want that sputtered and, let's say, pristine. But the counter and reference are less. Well, the reference has got to be good, but I don't think sputtering silver down and turning it into silver chloride would give you much of an advantage. You can get a perfectly good reference by screen printing, and the counter electrodes, when you look at our images, you'll see that the counter is large. It's just meant to be larger, so it can essentially carry the signal. So it's not essential. The size of it is more important than actually the sort of quality of the printing. So there you can screen print it. So I hope that's at least intriguing anyway. And I'm sorry about, like I said, normally I know you guys are very good at commenting, and somehow I've managed to set this one up without having comments playing. Now, something else as well. I mentioned earlier on that we were very involved in the CDT, specifically the one at Glasgow, which is the Centre for Doctoral Training. And we have some really good friends up there. They take very good care of us, and then they were kind enough to invite us. Just something else that you might not be aware of is the Centre for Integrated Semiconductor Materials. It's called Scissor. It's actually based in Swansea. And I'm hoping, this is a bit of a sneak preview, to be able to announce that we're opening a more formal office in Swansea soon. So we have a very good presence in a town called Swansea. We have really good connections to the local university there. And we're also founding members of something called Scissor. So, I mean, this supports, I started mentioning it last week, and so this week we've talked about screen printed electrodes and vapor deposition. It is unusual that we actually do quite a lot of MEMS manufacturing as well. And I know I brought this up last week, but this is the connection. This is why, we are actually supporting this this new centre in Swansea called Scissor. It's at least a £10 million partnership and building, and we're involved in that. And so as we expand in Swansea, then it'll be great to have this facility, which is essentially for wafer fabrication. But Zimmer & Peacock's unusual that we are interested in semiconductor fabrication and MEMS fabrication, but of course we're using it for biosensing. So that does make us sort of slightly more unusual as a CISM partner. Now, lastly, we've been refining recently these connectors. So when I say these connectors, there's many people who make potentiostats in the world, and I think honestly there's too many potentiostat manufacturers in the world. It does nothing but complicate it. If I was thinking about how many potentiostat manufacturers there are in the world, I think to myself, there's Autolab, there's obviously PalmSense, there's Biologics, there's Zana, there's an awful lot of potentiostat manufacturers in the world. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we're very keen on biosensors and we're very keen on screen printed electrodes, but we understand that we've got to make our products compatible with all these different potentiostats. Now, a lot of these potentiostats, I know, for example, the PalmSense definitely does. They come with what's called 3mm banana plugs, and so what we've done is we made a little connector so that people can take either our 10mm wide screen printed electrodes or our 7mm wide screen printed electrodes, and they can plug them into a little holder, which we have on the website, and then they can put the 3mm banana plugs in the back side of that, and then they can make connections through to our electrodes. So just a little sort of accessory rather, but just something that we've put out there this week. So if I look at the time, it's 2013 here in the UK. Like I say, thank you for Ali for letting me know online about the comments being turned off this week. I'll have to look into that. That's a little bit unusual. But I just want to sort of summarize up and say that thank you for attending the ZP Developer Zone. We'll obviously be doing it again this Thursday at 8 a.m. If you know of people who are particularly interested in gold sputtered electrodes, we have actually started doing gold sputtered electrodes. We're doing them on polymer, and I think we're just basically trying to be very aggressive on the pricing to really make those a sort of low cost option. Our commitment to supporting the next generation of scientists means, we went off to give this talk this week in Scotland, and we're appreciative of the good response we had and the hospitality that we got there. It was great. We're also combining manufacturing, so we said we're making these vapor deposited gold electrodes. We're also doing silver chloride screen printing next to them, so it's a hybrid, let's say, device. Again, another connection, I just mentioned that we're very well connected with Glasgow University. We're even more connected, I'd say, with Swansea University, especially through this £10 million project called Scissor, where it's the semiconductor wafer fabrication system, and we're going to be the biosensor guys, at that facility. And then lastly, just a little accessory that we put out there. We've improved an accessory that we had, but we've made it a bit more, let's say, professional, let's say. A bit of a nicer finish, and it's just to help people take their normal potentiostats and be able to plug in 3mm connectors. So it's 2015. Tomorrow morning I'll hopefully turn this into a podcast, and then this will become a podcast as well, so that people can listen to it while they're doing the washing up. Okay, well, thanks very much, Ali. Thanks for the extra note through LinkedIn. It was appreciated. but I will try and fix that so there can be comments next week and I can respond to those comments in real time. All right, take care.